Hello everybody and welcome back to another short mini-series of Process Pat. This week we're going to talk about agility applied to life. So for this one point in time, I'm going to ask you to take off your software development hat, and I'm going to ask you to think about this more broadly as we can take some core concepts that will make you a better husband or wife, a better family person, a better athlete, a well-rounded human. And a lot of these concepts come from agility to make us better teams as we are working through the complexities of software development on a day-to-day basis. First thing that I want to bring up is just the law of change. The law of change states that everything is in the process of becoming something else, and that's a very broad concept, but it's true. Change happens everywhere and with everyone, and it happens constantly with everything. And that's deep. It is difficult to comprehend, but just take a step back and think about it for a second. You are constantly changing. You are constantly learning at the molecular level, all the way up to what you're learning on a day-to-day basis as you go through different experiences, different struggles, and you fail and you learn from those things. Look out your window, look at the grass, the trees, look at your family that's growing up. If you're an athlete, think of the way that you are learning and practicing on a day-to-day basis to continue to get better. If you go beyond Earth and you look into outer space, things are constantly changing all the time. Everything is in a constant state of change. And when things are changing so rapidly and they are so complex, how do you ensure that you too are able to change and to keep up with that rate of change and to become better in a world that is rapidly changing? And that's exactly what we're here to talk about today. So we have all heard about the Agile principles, values, different frameworks have different values. I want to just apply a few core concepts that I have taken, and if you've read my blog about applying agility to life, then you will be familiar with these, and I'll post a link in here so that you can view that as well. It's a little bit different, but they are these four concepts. The first is continuous improvement. The second is iterative development. The third is continuous feedback. And then the fourth, which ties everything together, and it's more a giving back to those that also want to learn from what you have learned. It's the servant leadership aspect of all of these things that you use in order to drive forward, to push past some of the failures that you may have experienced, so that you can become better and help your teams, your family, your teammates get better on a day-to-day basis. Now, the first concept that I want to dig into is arguably the most important of those four, and that is continuous improvement. So continuous improvement is always about self-reflection, identifying the things that you struggled with, the things that weren't great, the things that you failed at, and finding ways to reflect on those, improve them so that you aren't tripping on the same thing twice. And when you get good at continuously improving and reflecting inward, then you'll find that you will start to project that outward, and it'll help you throughout all aspects of life so that you are continuously improving. And I always preach to celebrate your successes, but something that can be more powerful than celebrating successes is to celebrate failures. And I know that sounds silly, but it's not, and let me tell you why. When you are able to celebrate failure, it helps others feel that they are also able to shine a light on the failures that they have had. So it helps culturally bring them out of their box and to talk about the things that they are struggling with so that they can continuously improve. Another thing that it does is that when you share the reasons why you have failed, maybe that prevents somebody else from failing over the same exact thing later on. So when you start to shine the light on your failures, it will help somebody else not trip over the same things, and you will see that your continuous improvement is now projected on everybody else, and everybody else's continuous improvement is now projected onto you, and everyone starts to get better together. This concept is great within life itself. If you're on a sports team, helping your teammates continuously improve day to day, week to week, practicing together, getting to know them inside and out. The continuous improvement aspects, just getting to work and focusing on your successes and your failures and finding ways to continue to move forward in the right direction is what life really is all about at the end of the day. The second concept is iterative development. I absolutely love this one. Iterative development, and I love this picture too. So this is about, with all the change that is happening on a day-to-day basis, this is about setting goals and accomplishing things in smaller increments. No wonder the world of waterfall has fallen to the wayside. It's because we think too broadly and too big, and we don't account for the change that is inevitably going to happen. And so the only way to make sure that you are falling forward and that you're able to achieve your broader goals in a future state is to make sure that you're chunking this work up, you're iterating on it. And so even from a goal setting standpoint, you want to make sure that your goals are achievable so that as you achieve them, you can reach toward that next ladder rung, as you see here, where the ladder on the left has smaller, more iterative steps, and they are easier to achieve. And so then you can reach for the next thing and achieve it, reach for the next thing and achieve it. But the one on the right, they're too lofty. It's impossible to get to that first one, and so you see that you're left behind at the end of the day, versus those that were able to think about their goals or whatever it is that they want to achieve in life in a different way and break them down into smaller increments so that you can actually achieve faster throughput. And the faster throughput at the end of the day will make sure that you are achieving your broader goals, whether that be in your career, with the development of your family, or from an athletic standpoint, wherever you want to go as an athlete as well. So very powerful stuff. Make sure that you are being realistic when you are developing your goals and setting forth to achieve them. Now the third is going to be continuous feedback. So I know that it can be hard to hear from others the criticism, whether it's positive or negative or constructive or not constructive. Feedback can be difficult because you're putting yourself out there to be criticized, and it's hard to do at first. And you can look back on my videos, whether it comes to continuous improvement, continuous feedback, iterative development. I look at my earlier videos, they're just not good at all. But I got myself out there. I started with something. I set a low bar, a low goal. I achieved it, and I've been iterating on it ever since. But it wouldn't have been as powerful if I didn't go and collect feedback from those that have watched my films. And so feedback is opening yourself up, you're soliciting advice, you're asking for the good, the bad, the ugly, and you have an open mindset so that you can take that feedback and apply it in a positive way to improve whatever it is that you are trying to achieve. A lot of times in life, in sports, in your career, especially on scrum teams, when you have a coach, this is a great opportunity to solicit feedback on a regular basis to ensure that you can really take those weaknesses that you may have and strengthen them, and then take the strengths that you do have and continue to solidify those so that you're building whatever it is that you are building to the best that it can possibly be in shorter periods of time, but more incrementally, so that you get there faster. So continuous feedback is hard. The most successful people have continuous feedback loops so that they are constantly getting that criticism, that constructive criticism, that feedback, and they are able to adapt to the changes as the changes are happening on a day-to-day basis. So this again, very important. And then all of this stuff gets tied together with servant leadership. So once you've been able to master, and when I say master, we're always working on it. You never get to that nirvana state, but when you get to a point where you are good at continuous improvement, you're iteratively developing, you have continuous feedback loops that are in place that help you to criticize yourself and improve and onward and upward, then you can start to think about servant leadership. So servant leadership is about taking all three of those concepts and applying it to those around you. It's kind of what I'm trying to do with these sorts of videos. It's what I do within my career. It's what I do with my family, with my friends. It's trying to take everything that you have learned and to serve others so that they can get better as people as well. So I call all these the 3 plus me. And so this is really, or the 3 plus we, this is really taking those 3 and yourself and then projecting that onto everybody else so that you can maximize the impact that you are having and make everybody better. So a really important concept that I think everybody should learn. The best of the best out there, whether it's in business or sport, they are great servant leaders and they make everybody around them better at the end of the day. So my message to you is iteratively become a better you. Think about this day in and day out. Keep up with change. Change is okay. Things are going to change. The only thing that matters is that you are accepting the change, you're acknowledging it, and you are continuing to get better day in and day out so that you can be the best possible you. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Please make sure that you are liking and subscribing below. And make sure that you're commenting in the comment section, and I will reply to your questions. Thanks, everybody.